What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sit Down Saturday. And today we're going to be talking about the Bumblebee trailer that I think I like. I don't know. I'm very confused. It's so confusing. Look, they've gotten me before with this plenty of times. I got excited about Dinobots. I've been down this road before. I already know that this specific situation is one of the most disappointing situations in the world. Let me clarify. Seeing the initial trailer of a live-action Transformers film and getting excited, and then ultimately walking out of the theater feeling like nothing in the world quite makes sense anymore. The other situation that's almost equally disappointing is when you set up a chore chart for your children for the first time. For you new parents or parents with children too young to participate in the chore life, and at first it'll seem like it solves all your problems, but in a week, email me if you need a shoulder to cry on. Before we get started, I just mowed the lawn. It's a very busy day and I have to get this done. I didn't have time to shower, so if I look a mess, that's why. Not that I look much better after a shower. I don't. But I just don't have little pieces of green grass on me. Let's talk about why this is good. Let's talk about why we should be optimistic. Michael Bay isn't there, so any problems that may or may not be associated with him are not there as well. But we got a new director who definitely knows his way around animation, and from the visuals in the movie, we already know the designs are better. They actually look like characters, like identifiable characters, as opposed to a pile of moving parts, which is nice. That's a bonus. I'm not gonna turn a blind eye to that. That's awesome. This isn't my favorite design of Bumblebee ever, but it's definitely my favorite live-action movie design. He looks like Bumblebee, more so than we've ever seen before. It's easy to make sense of all of his anatomy, and he turns into a bug, and also into some sort of truck or jeep. We'll get back to that later. And Starscream looks the best we've ever seen him. I still wish Starscream's face, and Bumblebee's face to be fair, was a little bit more identifiable as a face. That's still my one issue really with the designs, but it definitely keys into the characteristics that make those characters. The wings on the back, the shape of the head, etc. Like they tried. Cockpit in the chest. Like they really made an effort, and it comes across. And I think it looks fantastic, given what we've gotten in the past, which is pretty much a yield sign with arms and legs, which may have been an Easter egg before we ever went to the theater. Am I right? But I'm reminded of all those people throughout the years that have told me, dude, they can't make it look like the cartoon. And I've been like, I know. I don't want it to look like the cartoon. Not exactly. I just want it to have those iconic characteristics that the cartoon set into motion. That the cartoon ingrained in our heads as the key characteristics that define who these characters are visually. And now all characters have them. What's Batman without his ears? Spider-Man without the eyes? Like, there's just things that let us know who these characters are supposed to be, and when they're not there, it's confusing and disappointing. So it looks like they're on the right track with that, which is awesome. I couldn't be happier. Let's talk about this timeline a bit, because I do find that all kind of confusing after watching this trailer. The Allspark was found close to the turn of the century, in the 1900s. I don't remember the exact date. So that, as far as we know, is our first hint of Transformers on Earth in universe. Now, it turns out that Unicron is Earth, so we're not sure. We're not sure how that plays into it, but let's leave that out of it. And then Bumblebee is fighting Nazis in World War II in 2007. I think it's 2007. I'm assuming that those years are all the real-time years. And he can't speak, and it seems like that was a new injury. And then at the end of the movie, he can speak. And then in the second movie, he can't speak again. And then in Last Night, he can? It's confusing. But all of these Transformers movies have kind of operated under the guise that the last one before doesn't really count or matter. Don't pay attention to that over there. We got this over here now. But he was fighting Nazis, and now he's here in the 80s as a bug. It's confusing. But it's awesome that he's a bug, and a yellow bug. I'm not sure how that's possible. I'm not sure what changed behind the scenes. Initially, they didn't want him to be a bug because of Volkswagen's ties to World War II, and they didn't want that brand associated with any wartime sort of element. But maybe it was because he was fighting Nazis, that they're like, oh, he's fine. They know now that he doesn't like Nazis as well. Speaking of which, side question just popped into my head. What's worse, Satanists or Nazis? Like, in my head, my mind immediately goes to Satanists because, you're choosing to follow the Dark Lord, and he's, kind of front street that he's a bad guy and he has malintent, and then you're just saying like, okay, well, you kind of like all the bad things in the world and I'm gonna follow you and also like the bad things in the world, and that seems bad, but it also seems like it's not real in a way. And that's not a religious attack, just that like they're following someone that may have malintent, but they don't like do bad things that we know of, like in the streets. Whereas like Nazis, like 100% did bad things, like that's a fact, and their point of view is kind of just. So I think Nazis are worse. I also have a theory as a side note, and some of you may be familiar with this theory if you listen to Nerd Rage, that if we were able to go into all of the Nazis, the current day Nazis' house, a significant portion would have a copy of Michael Jackson's Thriller in the basement that they tell no one about. Because even extreme fanaticism and racism can't deny the power of Billie Jean. It's one tough record and you know it. Back on topic. Volkswagen has also had some issues recently with emissions, I believe. There was something I caught in the news, so maybe the bad press they've caught there, they think that a hero, everybody loves Bumblebee, Bumblebee turns into a bug, maybe they think that will help the brand. I don't know. I don't pretend to know, I don't profess to know, I'm just spitballing. People love Bumblebee, people hate Nazis. I don't know. It's confusing, but so is the timeline. Let's talk about those two vehicles again. So he's obviously the bug, and we just discussed that, but he also turns into some sort of Jeep or truck. I'm not entirely sure. And I'm not sure if he's like switching car bodies like we saw in the first Transformer film, or if they're taking place in different points in time and we're seeing flashbacks. I'm not entirely sure, but it's something worth noting. There's also a number of other characters we're supposed to get in this. At least 2 other Decepticons, and Optimus Prime is supposed to make an appearance at some point. So who knows? We could see a lot more G1 influenced representations in this film, which would be cool. My concern for the movie is basically that it seems to kind of be a retelling of the 2007 film. Boy meets car, car has powers, introduces boy to larger world, boy learns a bit about himself, car learns a bit about himself, and etc. Like, I feel like it's the same thing now, except with a female. But that's my big concern, is that it just doesn't introduce a whole lot new to the table. But maybe it shouldn't, because it seems like this is the last of that universe. And it would be nice to see them leave on a good foot. To see them leave with the general audience and fandom kind of saying, like, you know what? Not bad. I mean, it seems promising and I'm excited. Oh, wait. John Cena's in it. It's gonna be trash. Or maybe it isn't. It's confusing, like that timeline in these films. But fingers crossed, like always. I'll be there opening night, like always. I'm really curious to hear your opinions on the trailer, but I'm only really interested in your opinion if you either A, haven't enjoyed the Bay films and are looking forward to this one, or B, have enjoyed the Bay films and are not looking forward to this one. If you didn't enjoy the Bay films and this one doesn't do it for you either, like, I get it, but I already understand your perspective. And if you've enjoyed all of them and you're looking forward to this one too, like, I get it, but also not a very interesting perspective. But if something about this is different, where it's either sitting better or worse with you, please leave a comment. I really would love to read it. I'm interested in people's opinions on this, because I do think it's a step in the right direction, but maybe a little too late. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.